On today's episode of James and IT, we're going to dig into Visual Studio Code and give you a nice introduction to it and why it's a program that you're going to want installed on your computer. Let's get started. One of the most powerful tools that you can have on your computer is a good code editor. Now, you don't need a code editor. You can use Notepad for a code editor. Heck, you could use a piece of paper for a code editor if you want to. But having a powerful code editor like Visual Studio Code, also known as an IDE, in other words, these code editors help you write code. They help formatting. They help with visuals. They help with all kinds of things, and they integrate with tons and tons of applications and infrastructure and all kinds of stuff. I know I'm kind of being vague here, but once we get into this, I think you'll see a little better what I'm talking about. Now, to install Visual Studio Code, you literally can download Visual Studio Code. If you search for it, you'll find it real quick and easy and install it. Or if you just watched our Winget video that we made not long ago, you can install it using Winget or even the Microsoft Store. But I'm going to assume that you know how to install a program. So let's get into this. So here we have our lab environment. We have Visual Studio Code installed. Now, when you first install Visual Studio Code, this is what it's going to look like. It's going to be pretty basic, pretty plain. I've done a few things to this because this is my little lab test environment. But what you'll find down here is you have a command line terminal here where you can run commands. So if I wanted to, for example, I could type get help, for example, because this is a PowerShell command here, terminal rather. You also have things like you have tabs up here where you can have multiple text files open that you could be editing. But when it opens up, it's going to first open up and show you, okay, how to get started, what you can do with it, learning the fundamentals. If you have Windows subsystem for Linux installed, it shows you that, PowerShell stuff, if you have that installed, things like that. And over here on the left-hand side, this is how you navigate the system. So if you click here, this is your Explorer. So this allows you to open files. So for example, if I want to go into my Go folder here, I can select it from my Learning Go series. And you could see here we have our Go executables and install and source directory structure here. It allows us to navigate. We can add files, add folders, delete files and folders, things like that. And then we can open up files. Like if I click on this once, we see that it opened up with Hello World Go that we wrote. Now, the nice part about this is we can zoom in because right now it's probably pretty small for you. With your parents, you can change things like your menu bars and stuff. Zoom in is as simple as Control and equals. So if we zoom in here just once, now we have a magnifying glass down here and we can change this to where we zoom in as much as we want. And that just opened up our settings app. But you see how it allows with the formatting, it makes it real easy to see. And this is what makes it truly powerful, because if we go in here into our extensions, which is these little blocks, we can see, I want to zoom out a little bit. We'll leave it at 1 to make it easy for you guys to see. These are the extensions that we have installed, such as CodeRunner, Go, PowerShell, and Windows Subsystem for Linux. Now, let's say we want to find other things, like let's say we want to install, here's a good one. There's a one that I love, which is Rainbow CSV. So if we have a CSV file, it makes the formatting of the CSV very easy to see. Now you could also edit this in Excel, but if you don't have Excel or some other spreadsheet processor, you can open the text file in here and still be able to work and still be able to see it. You'll notice here that it color codes each of the columns to make it easy to view. And not only that, but everything with CSV, it shows. And all you have to do is click install to install it. And that's how I installed the Rainbow CSV file. So now if I open up any CSV, it's going to look just like this. The other benefits of this is any extensions that get installed, you're going to have things like testing environments here. Because we installed Golang, it gave me a testing environment. Because I have we'll go back here and go back to our list of installed ones, Code Runner. That's why I have this little run code button here. So if I want to write some Go or PowerShell and I wanted to test it, instead of having to compile it or run it off of a terminal, I can just simply click this button or do Control-Alt-N, and bam, it runs it and I can see if it works or not. It's great for testing. Something else that makes this really powerful is it integrates fully with GitHub. This is a fantastic extension that I highly recommend. If you do anything with GitHub, or especially if you're just getting started, this is a fantastic program to go through GitLens, be able to see in the file when something was updated. You see like any annotations that are made, any updates, changes, who made the last update to it. So it's fantastic for teams. What you'll find is with these extensions, there are a ton of them out here that a lot of people just love using and are highly recommended to install. If you do some searching, you'll find some out there on Reddit and other posts that you'll find are very, very handy. And then it also has recommended ones, like here's GitHub Copilot if you want to add this to here. But let's say you don't want a paid for extension like GitHub Copilot that has a monthly fee. Well, there's things like Cody and other AI tools that you can integrate in here that can help you write code and help you with it. So this is just a few of the main features that are available with the text editors with VS Code. Now, keep in mind here, we've got other capabilities. We're barely even scratching the surface. But I wanted to say, the reason you want something like VS Code on here is if you do any type of development work, if you're learning programming, you want to learn VS Code. If you do anything with the cloud, you're going to want to use something like VS Code. Now, saying that, I'm talking any strong, good text editor is good, not just VS Code. Even though this video is about VS Code because that's my personal favorite to use, there's a lot of people that just use Vim or NeoVim. There's a lot of people that use other code editors out there. Find the one you're comfortable with. But I highly recommend start with VS Code. If this is your first code editor, it is a fantastic one because it allows you to do things that makes your job so much easier. Let me show you some of those features. So now we're back here on our sandbox. One thing you'll notice here is it shows you already there are show all commands. This Control-Shift-P, if we hit that on here, it pulls up a command line interface where you can run commands on your machine. If you're looking for something specific, you can just scroll through here, but it has a ton of commands that you can manipulate and scan stuff. So something else we can do. Let's say, I'm trying to think on the fly here of some good examples. We have Hello World open here. If we wanted to, we can open this to the side and we can have multiple files open at the same time. So we can be seeing what we're doing in two different files. So let's say we want to compare two files. Well, in the Linux and Unix world, diff is a fantastic tool to do this with. But you have that capability in VS Code. If we search the package manager for diff, for example, there are extensions. There's literally extensions for everything for VS Code where you can compare two files together. It makes it simple and easy. So I'm having some keyboard trouble, so let me show you here what you can do, some of the capabilities. There's this fantastic shortcuts that you can do that I highly recommend you print this off because it has all kinds of shortcuts that allows you to quickly navigate and easily get through various edits that you have to do. For example, one of my favorites is this Control-Alt up and down arrow that allows you to add cursors. So you can actually add cursors to multiple lines and edit all the lines all at once. you can do things such as you can bring up your keyboard shortcuts, Control K, Control S. So if you're ever curious what keyboard shortcuts you have, actually, let's try that. Let's see, Control K, Control S. There we go. Now we got a little, let's close these windows. This allows you to pull up all of the shortcuts, just like I showed you in the cheat sheet there. You can print off the cheat sheet, but this gives you access to all of the various command line shortcut. And you can edit these. If you want to change some of these key bindings, you can edit them and change whatever you are wanting to in Visual Studio Code to make it more suitable for your use. That's the nice part about VS Code. But know that there's all kinds of commands, such as opening, closing editors, going to files, going to specific lines. You can change your breakpoint. You can copy, well, your copy paste is pretty normal, but an easy way to scroll up and down, instead of touching your mouse wheel, just Control and then up and down arrow. But knowing these shortcuts allows you to quickly, easily, and navigate whatever you're trying to do, whatever you're trying to get accomplished. Plus, the beauty part of this is with those plugins I showed you previously, it allows you to customize VS Code so it's highlighting the text areas to make it easier to read. It'll even put in suggestions of what you're trying to type next. If you integrate some AI tools into it, it allows you to help write. Maybe you don't know the exact syntax of what you're trying to do. It'll help finish it for you and things like that. So if you've never played with VS Code, I highly encourage you, download it, install it, start tinkering with it, learning how to code, even if it's something just scripting like PowerShell or Bash. It's a fantastic skill set to have. So I want to thank you for watching this video today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell icon so you're notified when we make new videos, and we'll see you in the next one.